Right, so I'm going to make another little knife. I'm going to use this scrap of Farrier's rasp that came off another job, God knows what. So what I'm going to do is just literally draw down one end as a handle and draw the other end out as a blade. So let's see what happens. You can tell I'm probably bored at the moment. Last year was so busy. I'm actually quite grateful that this year has started off quite slow. I haven't got much proper work coming in. So once I've done my shoeing in the morning and I come back in here in the afternoon, I need to get the fire on because it's so bloody cold at the moment. I don't want to go home too early because it means I have to come out again and walk the dog. So I'm mucking about with bits and pieces like this. Just happened to see this bit lying on the shelf and thought, what can we do with it? So I'm going to draw this out to, I don't know how big, probably quarter square maybe, something like that, maybe a bit under. I haven't sort of measured anything, it's all just done by eye. I've sort of roughly started in the middle. I'm getting there. Now I'm just going to get a bit of shape in the blade end just so I can see where things are going before I get too carried away with the handle. I do like using the Farrier's rasp material. No idea what it is, but it's good tough stuff and it holds a fantastic edge. If you've seen any of the Farrier's knives that I've made, I've got a couple that have just gone on and on and on and they've held a brilliant edge, and they're all made out of this stuff. Well, most of them are made out of this stuff. Alright, we're sort of getting there, I think. Don't think I want to go much longer. I'm just going to take the edge off, literally take the square corners off. Just makes it a little bit nicer to look at and a bit neater, or nicer in the hand. You haven't got that sharp edge. I'm just literally taking that off. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, if it'll focus. You can just see there where I've taken that edge off. Just gives a much nicer profile. So now we're going to work on the blade end again. Get that somewhere near where I want. Just about there, I think. We'll probably call it at that. Try and make sure it's nice and level and straight before we do too much else. Right, so that's it on that. I'm going to call it and just put a twist in here. Just a little one. Just give it a bit more sort of something to look at. Just decoration. Again, just eyeballing it. 1.5 or something like that. There you go. Now we're just going to put the little curly Q on the end. Try and keep it down the middle. Alright, so now I'm going to warm the whole thing up and try and start bending it round. Just cooling out the curly Q. It doesn't get damaged. Trying to bend it round without damaging the twist. Now I'm not going to go any further because I want to put a little sort of semicircle in there because I want to try and hide the curly Q bit in there. Not for any reason other than I can. You can see how hard that steel is. That's just not been hardened or anything. This is just straight out the fire. That carbide tool is tearing it off. Again, just eyeballing it. Nearly there, I think. That'll do. Yep. Now I'm going to try and tuck that little curly bit into that space that I've just made. And what I'm going to do is just push it sideways, then drop it down. And then try and pull it back enough. I can just drop it in there. Nearly there. Just get it warm again. Trying not to damage any of it. I think that's got it. Right, now let's try and level it all up. Right, there you go. If you can see that, if it'll focus. That's tucked in there quite nicely. Quite pleased with that. There you go, better view. Focus. That's just about it. So I'm just going to roughly rough out the blade and then we'll temper it. That twist I'm not happy with, but there you go. Should have been further up. So I'm just going to roughly grind it. Oh, I should have put my camera on the floor rather than on the bench. The grinder's making it vibrate a little bit. This is a little bit small for my bevel jig, so I'm just going to do it by eye, by hand. At the end of the day, it's not for anything special, it's just for the fun of it. It doesn't really matter what it looks like. again, call it at that. Yep, that'll do. So I've just run it over the focus. That's it, the Scotch-Brite wheel as well, just to get some idea of what it's going to look like. So now we can harden it. And I'm going to do that in water. I'm not going to muck about with oil. I'm just going to bung it in the water. Hope it stays fairly straight. I'm just heating it up gently. I don't want to get it too hot too quick. I want it to soak right through. And I have edited this bit of video, but I just want to keep moving it around and make sure that the tip isn't going to burn. I think that's about it. Straight in the water. That'll do. Right, there we go. So I'm just going to clean it up again. Yeah, hard as. So I'm just going to quickly clean it up again with the Scotch-Brite so that we can see the temper colours. Not that I'm really going to muck about too much with tempering colours, but now it's nice and shiny, you should be able to see them come down. And the way I'm going to temper this one, slightly different. I'm not going to put it in the oven at home, I'm not going to use the gas torch. I'm going to use this big block of iron I've got warming up in the forge. Just going to stick that on the anvil and rest the knife on it and watch for the colours. It's not a particularly brilliant method, but for thin stuff like this thing it's actually quite an easy method to use. I'm trying to get the spine hot first. Obviously that's the thickest and the heaviest bit. Going to need to get the heat in, and it's just starting to come through. You can just see it sort of going browny. See, the tip's got too hot already, so that's why I'm just going to work it sideways. The colours are coming, and again, not exactly how I wanted it, but I'm not going to worry too much. This is fairly forgiving steel, so we'll quench that out at that, I think. Let's have a little look. Yeah, a mixture of browns, blues and purples. I think that'll do. Back on the Scotch-Brite. You see it takes the colour off pretty quick. This actually isn't a Scotch-Brite, it's a Chinese type of Scotch-Britey type wheel. There's a link in my Amazon pages if you want to buy them. I use them all the time. They're so useful. They're about a 180 grit. As you can see, they sort of give a nice satin finish quite easily. I'm just putting a bit more of a shine on it, this one. A bit of polishing. There you go, just taking the satin off. Right, I'm not very happy with it. The handle is too short. Could have done with being a little bit longer, or the blade being a little bit shorter. That could have been out here somewhere, or that back there somewhere. So it's a little bit out of proportion. That twist wants moving up. But hey ho, just a bit of fun. Not doing it for anybody or anything, just for the laugh. Now let's see if it'll cut. Now it's not very fair, this bit of paper. It's soaking wet. Well, not soaking wet. It's very damp, so it's gone like sort of soggy. But oh, there you go. It is cutting. Yeah, sharp enough for me. It's not razor, but it'll do. Nah. Paper's too wet. But it does cut. There you go. If it had been a little bit smaller, I would have been happier. Could have used it as a little neck knife, but it is what it is. So there you go. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one when I'm bored.